You've heard of the Land of Oz from The Wizard of Oz. Do you know that most people live in the land of was, not Oz? Was meaning it isn't anymore. It was. And if you don't think that's true, tonight when you leave here and go out for a cup of coffee, become still for a moment and listen to the gentle people in the booth next to you or the table next to you and see what it is that they're talking about. And I think you'll discover that they will be talking about what was. Spending a great deal of time talking about what was, but what isn't anymore. We spend most of our time walking backwards, looking in the direction from which we have come, really not knowing where we are going. If you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? You won't. In this series of conversations that you and I have been sharing with each other, we're talking about starting over, starting your life over, knowing where you are, and looking back, taking an inventory, becoming aware of your life as it was, in order that you can separate from what was, to begin the experience of what is, what can be, what exists right now. And it's the most exciting of all possible journeys. In order to start over, though, it's necessary that we employ one of the most amazing faculties that has been granted to the human mind. And I'm talking about our creative imagination. To begin to use our imagination not to rehearse what was, but to look into the world of possibilities and begin to discern what could be, so that what could be becomes and is for us. Albert Einstein, who was one of the greatest minds of this or any other century, said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, the entire universe, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. It is, strictly speaking, a real factor in scientific research, and it is an essential factor in the recreation of our lives. As a matter of fact, you were given this great faculty of the mind so that you can see what hasn't happened yet for you. And yet, strangely enough, anything that you see in your imagination has already occurred to someone. Everything that you are reaching for, that your heart desires, that you're being urged to experience, already exists and has been experienced somewhere, sometime, by one or more persons. And therefore it is available, it is a known quantity, and it can come to rest in your being or in your life. Edmund Sinnott said, nowhere is man or woman more godlike than in the limitless scope of his imagination, which releases him from bondage to material and finite things. Imagination breaks a path into an entirely new world and opens before him a vista, a view of such boundless extent that it makes of him a different being, a creator, and not a creature merely. Your imagination is not just some wimpy little faculty that you keep rehearsing yesterday's mistakes. That's the way we use it. But your imagination is a godlike faculty, a spiritual faculty that you will, that is empowered to set you free and to be used to create a new world for yourself. And you cannot arrive at that new world without the creative use of your imagination. Your life is the size of your vision. You can create an exciting life or one that is small and cramped. But let me urge you to not accept little ideals. Make no small plans. At a county fair, a farmer exhibited a pumpkin in the exact shape of a 2-gallon jug. It caused a lot of stir. And the farmer was asked how in the world he accomplished such a thing. He said it was easy. When the pumpkin was no bigger than my thumb, I stuck it in a glass jug and let it grow. When it filled the jug, it quit growing. What the jug did to the pumpkin, your plans, or lack thereof, have done to you. Your expectations have shaped your life. You have grown to the very edge of your plans, of your concept of yourself. And when you got to the edge of your plans, you stopped growing at that point. So if you look at the shape of your life, you'll see the shape of your mind. You will see what you believe about yourself. You'll see what you have expected. Now, it's important to know that when you outgrow your current plans and you can make new and better ones, the farmer, all that he did was to break the glass jug around the pumpkin, and probably, if he had broken it early enough, the pumpkin would have continued to grow. And you and I can do that very same thing. We can let go of our old ideas. As a child of God, you are unlimited. Any limitations that you have been experiencing are self-imposed, and you have unlimited power at your command, providing that you use your creative imagination. Yet with all of your divine talents, you can experience and enjoy only as much as you can plan, as you can scheme, as you can dream, as you can conceive. What the mind of a human being can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Daniel Burnham, a great architect, said, "Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high in hope and work, remembering that a noble, logical diagram once recorded will never die, but long after we are gone will be a living thing, asserting itself with ever-growing insistency. Let your watchword be order and your beacon beauty. Think big." And when he said your logical diagram, he was talking about the design, the scheme that your mind has come up with, your game plan, the project that you call your life, your intentions recorded as goals, your aim, your purpose. Someone once said that the imagination, when captured, is almost the whole of life. And you know that we spend most of our lives letting our imagination flit to and fro. It's like we mounted a stallion and galloped madly off in all directions. And our imagination is just like that. We go off in all directions and none, because we have not captured our imagination in the form of plans, objectives, and goals to which we have given value and into which we have poured the energy of our being. The most interesting thing happened to me just before I came in here this evening. Someone came and handed me a letter that I will share with you anonymously, of course. It's dated today and was delivered just minutes ago. It's from Jerry, the feminine form. Dear Jack, come next week, I'll be absent from the church of today. But for me, that is reason to rejoice. Let me explain. You see, I'll be in Paris, France, fulfilling a lifelong dream to live and work overseas. This dream came about directly because of my participation in the Church of Today family. When I first came back to Michigan to finish my bachelor's degree in French at the University of Michigan, my parents turned me on to the Church of Today. There I heard Les Brown speak, urging us to reach inside ourselves for our biggest dream. I was skeptical, worried about finishing my degree, my debts, and most of all, a boyfriend who had no interest in accompanying me overseas. To make a long story short, I learned through attendance at the church throughout this past year to nurture my dreams, no matter how far away they seem. Lessons in faith and self-love learned through the Church of Today. And today the pieces have miraculously fallen into place. From humble beginnings where I first dared to write my dream down on paper, I have finished my French degree, saved a little money, and found a place to stay in Paris, thanks to the graciousness of a French woman I met in a youth hostel in Anchorage, Alaska. Indeed, my now ex-boyfriend is not going, But the Starting Over series this October has helped me define new attitudes about that too. I will continue my adventure in faith in Paris by joining the community at the American Church on the Seine, having learned that a loving church family can fill all my needs. They have English-speaking AA there too. But before I go, I wanted to write to say thank you with all my heart. You've made a difference in my life, sincerely, Jerry. And Jerry, you've made a difference in our lives, in my life. And that's so exciting to, one more time, to see one person come to believe in herself and to believe in a power greater than herself and to dream her dreams and have them become a living reality. And so I say to you, what will your plans be? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Have you reached within your mind and pulled your plans out and captured them, putting them down on paper? Because unless you do, or until you do, they will never come alive, and you will not start over no matter how great and strong your intentions might be. So I say to you, get some paper and a ballpoint pen or a sharp pencil. And probably most importantly, get your Mastermind Goal Achievers Journal. And I would also say your Science of Mind Goal Achievers cassette lessons. And if you're listening on tape, you can order these valuable tools from the same address that you have on the tape to which you're listening at this moment. It's very important that we get our imagination captured. Ask yourself tonight and in the next hours and days that follow, where do you want to go in your life? What kind of life would you live? If you could live the kind of life you wanted to live, not what you're living now, as good as it might be, if you could do the things that you really wanted to do, what would they be? Write them down. I dare you to write them down. I dare you to write them down. And when you begin to write them down, you will not want to write them down because you will say, they can't happen to me. I'm too young, or I'm too old, or I'm too something. My plans can't happen to me, but they can. They can happen to you. What kind of marriage would you like to have? Or home, or career, or family, or church? Write down every goal, every objective, every desire that you can see in your mind. And if you look in the back of your Mastermind Goal Achievers Journal or the Science of Goal Achieving and listen to those cassette tapes, there is a section in your journal that will assist you in defining the categories, the different categories in which you can let your goals form a very powerful network so that you're writing goals for every aspect of your mind and of your life. And in writing down these imaginings and feelings that come into your mind, you may end up with 100 or more possibilities, and that's okay. Let any fanciful thought come in and write it down. And out of all of these imaginings and dreams, you will have a plan to which all the forces of the universe will begin to shape themselves. When you know what you want to be and what you want to do, when you know it, when it has become a plan, the whole universe will begin to respond to you in the most astonishing, the most amazing way. The effort will be in coming up with your plan, and beyond that point, it begins to become more and more effortless. God is already saying yes if only you will give Him your expectation and your plan. And of course, it'll be necessary to visualize your results and to walk in your dream on a regular basis. And I'll talk to you more about that in just a few moments. This morning, I heard on the radio a remarkable interview with a man by the name of Ray Combs, who happens to be the host of the television show Family Feud. He's the new host. And in his interview, he told the story of the success that has happened to him, his dream, his lifelong dream. First, to be a comedian, stand-up comedian, and then to be in television. He comes from Indiana and spent the early years of his life as a furniture salesman. He experienced a small measure of success as a stand-up comic in some small clubs around the country. And then through a series of to him, rather astonishing events. He ended up as a warm-up comic for NBC television shows. Now, you have to know that so many of their half-hour programs take about 3 to 3.5 hours to videotape, and the audience that is sitting in the room where that show is being videotaped becomes very restless, and so they need persons with personality who can be there to keep the audience warmed up. And that was his job. And between shows, or when the day was over, after everyone was gone from the studio, our friend Ray Combs would walk into the Johnny Carson studio, where the Tonight program is filmed, and stand on the star spot. There's a spot on the stage where when the guest stars come out, there's a spot that they stand. We have a star spot right here for our vocalists. Perhaps you never noticed it. That's our star spot. And he would come and stand on the star spot and imagine himself stepping out from behind the curtains, and the orchestra would play, and Johnny would introduce him, and he would go into his routine. And he rehearsed it and thought it and visualized it and felt it, because he'd come to understand that what you see is what you get. And it so happened that Johnny would come into his office in the afternoon, and with his writers would be preparing for the evening show. And from time to time, they would almost be interrupted by the laughter from the crowd of people who had been sitting in a hot studio under the lights for 2.5 or 3 hours. And Johnny said, I wonder who's making those people laugh. And one day he sent his producer down, and he came back and he said, there's some guy down there that's really funny. But he's not so funny with jokes, he's just funny himself. And so Johnny then sent the vice president of Carson Productions to find out what was going on. And Ray Combs was invited to appear on The Tonight Show. And he was given about 4 or 5 minutes for his time. And he did so well, the audience responded so enthusiastically that he couldn't get all of his jokes in the time that was allotted. And so the card went up saying, you know, your time is over. And so he took the last few seconds to very emotionally say thank you for having me here. And it was so real that Johnny flagged him over. There was only the 4th time in the history of the Tonight program that Johnny called that kind of a guest over and had him sit on the couch beside him. And when Ray Combs sat on the couch, he recalled having stood in the star spot and having visualized being there. And he felt the power that got him there. And he broke down and began to sob and cry unashamedly. And so Johnny said, we'll have you back on in just a moment. And they did a commercial. And while they were on commercial, Johnny said, tell you what, we'll cancel everybody else that's on the show this evening, and you have the rest of the hour to do your thing, whatever it happens to be. And of course, he was a great hit. And that's how it started. But how did it happen? It happened because he had a plan, he had a dream, he knew what he wanted to do with his life, and he believed in it, and he was emotional about it. He felt it unashamedly. It became a part of his inner being. And you will discover that as you become emotional about your dreams, about your plans, as you build them into the very fabric of your mind, and when you practice them, when you rehearse them, you see, if you and I don't take the time to rehearse our dreams, they're not going to come alive. If we cannot give them value and credence within ourselves, how can they be given value or credence within the spiritual universe or even in the minds of the people around us? Get visual about your new life. You're starting over? Get excited about starting over and decide where it is that you're going within the framework of your ability to make such decisions at this moment. You'll discover that as you become clearer about your goals and plans, that they will become more elaborate in your mind, in your consciousness. The more you see them, the more there will be to see. That your dreams, in a very short time, will no longer be dreams, but they'll be so clear to you that you'll be able to walk down the streets of your dreams as though those streets were real. See your new life in your mind and feel it in your heart. Live it and let it come alive. In Wayne Dyer's new book, you will see it when you believe it, The Way to Your Personal Transformation. Wayne tells a story that I would like to, let me share it with you. And he begins by saying, to become a waking dreamer, you must learn to die while you are alive. And he tells this story. A traveler from India went to Africa to acquire some local products and animals. And while in the jungle, he saw thousands of beautiful, multicolored, talking parrots in the trees. He decided to capture a talking parrot and take it back as a pet. And at home, he kept his pet parrot in a cage and fed him wonderful seeds and delicious honey and played music for his pet and generally treated him very well. When the time came for the man to return to Africa after 2 years, he asked his pet parrot if there was any message that he could deliver to the parrot's friends back in the jungle. And the parrot told his master to say that he was very happy in his cage, that he was enjoying each day, and to convey his love to the other parrots that were flying free. When the traveler arrived back in Africa, he delivered the message to the parrots in the jungle. And just as he finished his story, a parrot with tears welling up in his eyes fell over dead. Now the man was alarmed and decided that the parrot must have been very close to the parrot in the cage, and that was the reason for his sadness and for his demise. So when he returned to India, he told his pet parrot what had happened. As he finished the story, his pet parrot's eyes welled up with tears, and he keeled over dead in his cage. Now the man was astounded, but figured that his pet died from the despair of hearing of the demise of his close friend back in the jungle. So the trader opened up the cage and tossed the dead bird outside onto the trash heap. And immediately his pet parrot flew up on a branch of the tree outside. And the trader said to him, "So you're not dead after all. Why did you do that?" And the parrot answered, "Because that bird back in Africa sent me a very important message." What was the message? The trader inquired impatiently. "He told me that if you want to escape from your cage, you must die while you're still alive." Would you like to escape from your cage? Then you must die. You must die to your life as you have known it, because your life as you have known it is your cage. And I'm sure that someone has been feeding you wonderful seeds and honey and been playing beautiful, wonderful music for his or her pet, and you've been generally treated very well. But not well enough, because it's still a cage. I get so excited about the stories that I see coming alive as you. And I'm thinking of one young woman who began her life over again some 2.5 years ago. And then after starting over, she decided to start over. You know how you start over, then you start over again. And in starting over, she followed through on a dream to go back to the university to get an advanced degree and to change her profession. But becoming a full-time student and having to work to support herself, she found that she was trying to fit her new lifestyle into her old habit patterns, commitments, and so forth. Have you ever tried to do that? Well, I promise you that if you start all over, that this will be one of the first things that will happen to you. You'll try to pour this new wine into your old flask. You'll try to take some of this new cloth and weave it into the cloth of the life that you're now living, and you'll find out that it just simply will not work that way. That after you start over, you'll have to start over. And by that I mean that after you've set your goals, you're going to discover that they won't fit your present lifestyle. They won't fit your present commitments. They won't fit your present habit patterns. They won't fit most of the people that are in your life. You're going to discover that some of the people that are in your life will begin to desert you, and they will say, "What's wrong with you? You don't love me anymore." It will happen. You cannot have your life as it is and have your life as it's going to be. You cannot live in the land of was and in the land of is. You can't. So to want to be in the land of is means that some changes will have to be made. And this young woman is going through the process now of defining her life as it needs to be now, the daily patterns of living, including how much time to spend on the telephone talking to friends, reserving time and energy to do the new things that have to be done. Do you want a new life? Then you've got to design a new life, and only you can design your new life, and some things have to go. You have to die to some things. Your parrot's going to have to fall dead in its cage. I'll tell you, it will, but so that it can then fly up into a tree. Something that I decided years and years ago that I would not do, and then if you ever catch me doing it, bring it to my attention. And it is that I will not enter into small talk. If you will, again, listen to the people in the world around you, you will see that they're talking about what was. Small talk, talk, small talk. Everybody's talking, no one's listening. And they're talking about that time 18 months ago when I bowled 262. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares about what was? Become excited about what is, and spend your time with people talking about the exciting things that are happening in your life at this time. I know that when I gather together with any of you at lunch, whether it's 2 of us or 10 of us, we talk about what is happening now in terms of the exciting, incredible, wonderful dreams that are coming true. And it is just amazing how when you share your experience, your strength and hope with me, and I with you, we empower each other by talking about what is happening now as the result of dreaming my dreams, of changing my life. It is miraculous what happens to us. To become aware that we do have the ability to empower each other, and that we are as alive as our dreams are alive. They must be written down in the form of goals. And like the pumpkin at the county fair, your life will be shaped by the containers in your mind. So if your life is cramped in any way, then remember to not make small plans, and do not enter into small talk or think small thoughts. I've told you many times that in looking back over my life, I can see that the dominant feature of my life was that I always thought too small. And I have had to spend these years thinking, forcing my thoughts and my feelings beyond where I am at any given moment. It never happens automatically. We must make it happen. I want to spend these last few minutes with you talking about 7 steps to a new reality. 7 steps that you can take, and I promise you that your dreams will come true. And I'm going to just repeat these steps very quickly, then I'll explain them to you. Step number 1 is to see the new reality, to see it. Number 2 is to believe it. Number 3 is to feel it. Number 4 is to empower it. Number 5 is to value it. Number 6, to live it. And number 7, to share it. And let's talk about step 1, to see your new reality. To see means to form an idea or vision of something in one's mind. It doesn't just mean to see with the eye. It means to imagine it. It means to conceive it. What the mind of a human being can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is a universal principle that has been explored, that has been proven time and time again by literally thousands of people, but it is a simple premise that has been ignored by the vast masses of our population. It is not taught in the universities where it should be taught. You've never learned it anywhere in school. But it is a basic truth of your being. We are always demonstrating it because what we conceive and believe is what we experience. Except that what we conceive is in a small container and takes the shape of a pumpkin. To fancy it, to see it, to fancy it, to visualize it. And to visualize means to know in advance that it will happen or come into existence. Suppose that you could dream your dream and know in advance that it's your new reality. Then it will become your new reality. It means to apprehend it, which means to recognize the existence of, to apprehend with the mind, to grasp with the mind. Let your mind grasp as surely as you would pick up a glass of water with your hand, to apprehend a thought and to hold on to it until it becomes your new reality. Step number 2 is to believe it. And to believe means to have a firm conviction in the reality of, to view as already in existence. Do you not know that anything that you can imagine has reality just by virtue of the fact that it is in your mind? Are you not aware that everything that exists on this planet that mankind has shaped first appeared in the imagination of one person and probably was resisted violently by several other people? They said, you can't do it. But you can. Every building that you see was imagined. Every man-created thing on this planet was conceived in mind. That's how it got here. And the people who are living the most prosperous, the most joyful, the most exciting lives have conceived of those lives. They were not given to them from the outside, but they came to them from the inside. To think it, to expect it, to suppose it, which means to take it for granted. To take for granted that you have the right, as a matter of fact, the responsibility to make your dreams come true. You don't just have the right, you have the responsibility. Think for a moment about the people that have shaped your life. Suppose that certain people, such as parents and siblings and others, earlier on, had assumed their rightful responsibility to take their creative imagination and to empower themselves to live more successful lives. Would that have had some impact on you? You better believe it would. Then if you and I want to leave something for the generation that's following us, or if there's something we wish to give the people in the world now that we love, we must know that the only thing that we can give them is what we become, ourselves. To empower them through the demonstration of our own dreams becoming a new reality. To believe it means to stop giving power to anything that is not like it. To stop spending time spinning our wheels. To stop looking back. To believe it means that you give your new life the total focus of your mind and of your attention. To believe in it to the exception of all things unlike it. And step number 3 is to feel it. The word emotion means to excite. It comes from a Latin word. It means to move out, to stir up. Have you noticed that on your greatest days, when you arose and you were one with the universe and life was great and the sun was bright, the sky was clear, there may have been clouds overhead, but not for you. That as you moved out with those powerful emotions, that you created a day that was the equivalent of your emotions. Have you noticed how that was? It was glorious because you felt glorious. That's why the word emotion means to move out and to stir up. You stir up the things in life that are the equivalent of your emotions. Your emotions go out and just stir up all kinds of little things like them. Have you noticed on your worst day? That day that long ago, not recently, because you're not that way now. That when you went out into the world, you actually stirred up the events that were like your feelings? Have you noticed that angry people stir up things to be angry about? And depressed people always find something that depresses them even more. And what about a jealous person? Wow-wee, you're going to be there at exactly the right time to see him touch her. It's astonishing how it works. Step number 3, to feel it means to become passionate about. If you can't get passionate about your life, who can? I mean to enjoy it, to feel it, to develop a burning desire, and to move into your experiences with great feelings. Now, you don't have to walk into the office tomorrow and just bowl them over like that, but inside, that fire's got to be burning. It's got to be there. A burning desire. And the word desire means a longing that promises enjoyment or satisfaction. A longing. I want it so bad that I can taste it. I want to go and live in Paris. It's a part of my dream. I want to study there, live on the Seine. And if it is a burning desire, it will come to pass providing that I am willing to pay the price of surrendering all the things that keep me from doing it, all the things that hold me back. And step number 4 is to empower it, which merely means to invest with power, or the right to be. How many times have you said, when saying your prayers or discussing your plans, well, I don't know, or I hope, well, I'll try. There's no power in that. That's wimpy. To empower it means you have the right to experience. And so to empower it means to authorize, to commission, and to enable. Now, paradoxically, the way to empower yourself in your dreams is to admit what? That you have no power. Now, that sounds dumb, but it's the way it works. To admit that you personally do not have the power, but that you are connected with the power that has formed and shaped the universe. So trust God to bring into reality what you have conceived and believed. God willingly accepts your plans as God's own plans, if you believe it. And it's also very important to enroll fellow participants in your dream. And I don't mean to tell the people that are resisting your plans, but to find your own group of like-minded persons, fellow travelers, if you will, spiritual beings, your mastermind partners. And if you don't know about masterminding, get your Masterminding the Way to Success and Happiness cassette tapes. And if you're listening on cassette tape, you can order them from that same address on the cassette that you're listening to. Where 2 or more of you are gathered together in my name, there am I also. 2 of us can believe anything several times more powerfully than any one of us by ourselves. 2 of us can believe something for you that would take you 20 years to believe for yourself. And we can believe it without resistance for you. We may have some difficulty believing it for ourselves, but then you'll believe it for us. It's how masterminding works. Empower your dream. Solicit the power of other like-minded persons. What do you think a board of directors for a major corporation is? And if you and I are going to start a new life, we need a board of directors. We need the group of like-minded persons. Step number 5, to value it, to hold in high esteem, to hold your plan, your dream for your new life in high esteem, to put it in first place, not before God, but to put it in the first place as the modus operandi in which you will experience God. You're probably not going to experience God except as you live your life. It is in the midst of your experience that you will find God. It's in the midst of making your dream come true. Prayer and meditation are very important, but God comes alive for us when we come alive in the demonstration of our dreams. It is in the world that we experience God. So to value your dream, to treasure it, to prize it, to appreciate it, to cherish it, your new life must become the most important thing in your life. You must hold on to it as a great treasure, the thing that you value above all things. You value it so much that you will not let it be trampled on by the thoughts and feelings of other persons. Step number 6, to live it, to make it real. The only way that we can make any dream real, or anything real for that matter, is to live it. And to live it means to act as if it is already so, to give life to it. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Go into action, experiencing your dream now. And if it hasn't happened yet, fake it till you make it. You've heard that expression. But act upon it. Go into action. Become willing to do the things necessary to have your dream come true, to live it, so that it can be seen as your personal experience. And step number 7 is to share it. To share it. Earlier on in the series of lessons, I talked about the fact that in starting over, what we really are doing is following a set of principles or plans and coupling those principles or plans with our dreams and our goals for the primary purpose of fitting ourselves to be of maximum service to God and to the people around us. That our dreams can no longer be for ourselves alone, that they have to be shared. And the word community or communion means possession in common. That's what communion means, possession in common. In religion, it means that we have the mind of Christ. We already possess that mind. That's what communion is. It is a celebration of our oneness with the power that has formed the universe. To share our new life means really to become useful to others. It means to become willing to attend to the wants and comfort of others. As I start my life over, am I going to start my life all over by myself, living as I have in the past alone? Am I going to do what Pat did? I just have to look down and see you. This guy started his life over a short time ago. And on Sunday mornings early, you'll find him back in the kitchen making coffee and preparing that whole morning for us. You'll see him there tonight. And he's there later cleaning up after we have left, fitting himself to be of maximum service to God and to the rest of us. Have you found the place that you can be of service? It's important. There's a place for you. There's a place for you to do some things that are not for you, but to have other people become comfortable. And also think about tithing to support the work of your church, of that very special group from whom you have derived your inspiration. Tithing is so incredibly powerful. And it's not just the tithing of one's money, it's the tithing of one's time, of one's energy, of oneself, giving of yourself in a very special way. And the moment that you make the decision, you'll come to understand more about what that means. What it really means, for everything received, something must first be given. In tithing money, we have said, if I ever get some, I'll tithe it. And the principle says, take what you've got and give 1/10 of it, and then one day you'll have some. And if you look around you, you'll notice that the most prosperous people in the world give generously. And the people who have the least give not at all. And most of the rest of us fall somewhere in between those two groups. But share it. A few years ago, for quite a number of years, there was a woman from England whose name was Peace Pilgrim, and she walked around this country. I met Peace Pilgrim on a few occasions, different parts of the country. And she said that when one begins to live this kind of life, certain things happen. A tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than on fears based on past experiences. An unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. A loss of interest in judging other people. A loss of interest in interrupting the actions of others. A loss of interest in conflict. A loss of the ability to worry. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Contented feelings of connectedness with others and nature. Frequent attacks of smiling. An increased susceptibility to the love extended by others as well as the uncontrollable urge to extend it. And that's what I meant by sharing, to develop that uncontrollable urge to share yourself and your life and all that you are with the world, people around you. And this is what you're in for, my friend, on this incredible journey that you're beginning, starting over. It is my prayer that your life will become a fascinating journey filled with joy and awe. And it is my prayer that your parrot will die. God bless you.